Welcome back to No Recipe Required. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to do a little spin on the classic potato gratin. So, potato gratin, nice thin potatoes, some cream, some cheese. You cook them or bake them off in the oven until you get that nice golden brown crust. That is absolutely awesome. Makes me feel a little bit guilty because there's no vegetables, all that cream, all that cheese. So what I'm going to do today is actually add some cauliflower to it. We're going to take cauliflower, we'll cut off the rosettes a little bit, saute them off, and then add them to the potato mixture. Lightens the dish up a little bit, but frankly, I think the flavor is pretty awesome as well. Let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, for our potato and cauliflower gratin, I've got a russet potato that I've peeled and just sliced into little thin rounds like this, and then I drop them in the water. I do it to keep the rounds from turning brown, and I can do this a few hours ahead of time, and just keep them like that. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to spill a little water on my board, dry that off. So then I've got a head of cauliflower here, and I'm just going to go ahead and take off, a nice chunk of it here. What you're looking for is really the kind of the outside layer, those florets, and you can either break them up by hand if they come off for you. I like pieces about that large, a little bit smaller than bite size maybe. And you want everything to be kind of right around that size. If you got bigger pieces, you want to cut them down and just move them over to the right as you cut through them. And what we're going to do is take the cauliflower and just saute it off, get it partially cooked before we add it in with the potatoes and the other ingredients to bake off in the oven. Okay, for our cauliflower and potato gratin, I've got my cauliflower that I'm just going to blanch off real quickly in some salted boiling water, literally for probably just a minute to get it done. The cauliflower is actually going to take less time to cook than the potatoes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cook these off first, set them aside, then we'll cook the potatoes longer in the dish I'm actually going to do the gratin with, fold these in, and then bake them off. Okay, so I've got my pan here that I'm going to cook my potato cauliflower gratin in. And for this one good russet sized potato, I've got probably half a pint of cream in there. And I'm going to go ahead and add my potatoes that I drained off. And I've also got some fresh thyme. That's probably a half a teaspoon or so. You want to try and pull the stems out. And I'm going to let that cream come up to a boil. I'm going to cover this and just let the potatoes cook for probably 10 to 15 minutes or so, and then we'll add in the cauliflower, add in the cheese, and then throw it into a hot oven. So my potatoes have been going now for about 15 minutes or so. And you can see that the milk is just starting to slightly thicken. They're not anywhere near cooked. I do I cover it so that I can put it on low heat without anything boiling over and still have the cover on it. What I'm going to do, I've just got the thyme in there. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a good couple pinches of salt. Potatoes certainly can use some salt. A few grinds of good fresh ground black pepper. And then I'm also going to throw in my cauliflower, which we pre-cooked and just kind of parboiled there. And then, just kind of toss it around, make sure everything is mixed, distribute that salt in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop this into a 300, actually a 400. Anywhere from 400, 425 work just fine. And after, it's probably going to cook for a total of 45 minutes. I'm going to let it go for about 15, just uncovered, just like this. Then we'll come back and we'll add a little bit of cheese to the top of it. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes with my potato and cauliflower in the oven, and I'm just going to run a knife through a few spots in the potato, and it's all coming out pretty easily, so I can tell the potatoes are just about done. But you can easily go and they can go another 20 minutes, not any problem. What I'm going to do now, that brown on top is just a little bit of the cream getting browned. So I'm going to take my cheese. In this case, I'm using a little bit of Parmesan cheese, but you can use whatever you want. Cheddar, Swiss, all make great options. Sprinkle that on top, just kind of all around. And then I'm going to put this back in the oven and let that cheese melt and get nice and golden brown on top. We'll come back when we're ready to pull it out in about 20 minutes. Alright, so I just pulled my potato and cauliflower gratin out. Once again, you check it, make sure it's all done. This one's perfectly cooked. You got that nice brown crust on it. When I pull it out, obviously it's still a little bit juicy and runny because it's so hot. I like to let it sit for probably 10-15 minutes before I serve. Just take a nice little scoop out, serve it as an awesome side dish. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.